Hello, good evening. My name is Andrew, and I'm going to be talking about my project, which I did with the city of Missoula. So, this specifically was with Missoula in Motion, or the Way to Go Missoula team. So, basically, what it is Missoula in Motion was started in 1997 by the Transportation Division, by the Public Works Department in the city of Missoula. Basically, their aim is to like encourage more sustainable transportation, right? So like the mission is to like increase the use of sustainable transportation in and around Missoula. So they offer many options, and one of the options they offer is this app called Missoula in Motion. You can get it as an app on your phone if you wanted to, but you can also get it as a website. So basically, you could go in there and say, I want to go from like my place where I live to like um, say like the county courthouse or something, and it will give you these different options, right? So like if I look at this time, it's not going to give me any transit options. So let's say I'm going to go at like 8:45 a.m. tomorrow, right? I can like there's these 20 people that I can like schedule a ride with, and I can also take the bus. So that's like these six other transit options at these different times that I could take. Um, and I would like be emitting less CO2. I could walk. I could also take the bike, which it looks like there's two different options there. I could take that trail or I could take this trail, and I could also drive. Will give me directions for that, but it's gonna emit the most CO2, right? And cost money. So basically, this is this cool app that they've like designed that they want people to use. Which collects this awesome data, and they like you can like log in there and like log your trips, basically, and like calculate how much CO2 you have emitted or like saved, right? And they do like these competitions where they like challenge or like participating companies, they challenge their employees to like be more sustainable, and in the end they see which company was or which company's employees were more sustainable and like give them something, right? So one of the things they do was they did this survey, basically, which was given to the people who work in downtown Missoula, and they were given a chance to like win $200, right? So they basically like went in there and filled in information like what is the nearest intersection to where you live, who do you work for, what is the nearest intersection to where you work, right? And like how many days per week do you work, how many years have you been working in Missoula, like how do you get to work, does it change seasonally or does it stay the same. This here is like how did you get to work basically in the last week, and there's all these different options that people could choose from. And was there a stop on the way, or is there usually a stop on the way to work? What is your company's remote work policy? Which matters to you most when you're deciding how you're gonna go, where you want to go, time, cost, all this stuff. um there's like these are like transportation matters, like sorry, I don't want to like explain the whole survey because like I only have like 10 minutes for this. But basically they were like asked a bunch of these questions, right? Like these are like a couple important questions. Like they were asked if they like know about this app, and they were asked if they would be interested in using the app, right? And these were the options. So that was the entire survey actually. Um, um, so if you look at like a few descriptive statistics of the data, we can see actually it would be better to see it on the Power BI report. So we can see that most people who took the survey were 35 to 45 years, right? 25% of the people who took the survey were 35 or 25 to 34, so like, kind of like the younger crowd. um and we can see like they're most people's income was like 50,000 to 75,000, followed by 35 to 50. And when we asked them if they're familiar with the program, like almost half said yes and half said no, but most people said no, and the other is just blanks. And when we asked them like how did you travel to work last week, most people said drove alone. So like 70% of the people drive alone to work. um and like these were questions related to bikes, so like that's why they are empty or blanks. So when we look at like how many days they typically work, most people work 5 days a week, and most people have to be in work every day or be in the office. But 18% of the people who took the survey are privileged enough to work remotely, I guess. And when we asked them if they would be interested in using the app, 36% of the people said no, they would not be interested in the app, and 31%, almost 32%, said they might be interested, and 15%, almost 16%, said yes, they would be interested in using the app, right? So those are a few descriptive statistics of the data. So based on like they like gave me the nearest intersection to where they live and where they work, so we can see like most people work there. Not no, I mean everyone we surveyed worked there because we surveyed everyone we works downtown. So we can see like where they live. They mostly live like far away and like by the airports. There are a considerable number of people who live downtown, but most people live far away, right? So I was able to like get some information like most people who work remotely, where do they live? Most people who like are hybrid, where do they live? And we can see like most people who walk to work walk because they live downtown, that's why they're walking to work. And same with like biking, right? Like they're kind of close to like where they work, so they bike. But people who like take the bus are kind of far away, so they don't really bike. And there's actually a considerable amount of people there who take the bus. Wonder why? But there we go. And we can also see like so like of all these people who would take these different options to get to work, what are their incomes. So we can see like doesn't matter what your income is, most of the people drive alone to work, they're driving, right? But we can see like 20% of the people who take the bus are making less than $15,000, right? The next biggest group is actually the people who are making like $100,000, $250,000, right? They're like 6% of the people who took the survey also take the bus. So it's like both those two extremes are the ones that's taking the bus, which is kind of interesting, right? So I could like do the same thing with like age. We can see like if you're biking, it's probably because you're younger, right? If you're over 65, you're not biking, probably because you're not fit or something, right? So yeah, so I was able to like do all these like different options. Same thing with like remote work. If you're 80% of the people who make less than $15,000 have to be in the workplace every day, right? Only 20% of the people somehow can work remotely and make like less than $15,000, but that's probably their part time or something, right? Like we don't have that information. We didn't capture that information in the survey. And I don't know if you guys remember, there was that question in the survey where they were like asked to rank what matters most, right? When they're deciding what mode to take when you're traveling. And so when people are trying to decide how to go where they want to go, they're basically deciding on like how fast can I get there, right? Like time is what matters for most people. And this kind of sad. The last thing on the list was environmental impact, right? Like community impact. Like most people do not care about the environment or the community. Uh, so that was kind of like a few stats on the survey. I couldn't get too much into detail about it, but when we talk about like innovation, so there was this one question in the survey that basically asked, um, what does your transportation mode, does the mode that you used to travel to work change seasonally, right? If so, explain below. So people could like type whatever they wanted, right? And then like submit it. So it would be like impossible to read through all the survey responses. It was like 700 people something, or like 900 in total, but like 700 people answered for that column, right? So basically, I was able to like get some help from our professors, and basically I found out we could like feed this data to like OpenAI API, and I was able to like give it a prompt saying like, hey, you're an expert in survey response analysis, and you're going to categorize these survey responses and like give me like standardized labels, right? The possible labels are these things, right? And like in order to like come up with this, I had to like go through some of the survey responses. So this is like the raw data, right? Well, not the raw data, like, so since I was like giving it to like OpenAI, like since like data ethics, data privacy, and all that stuff. Like, I extracted only that column, right? So there's no context to this. All it has is just this column and like this question that says like, does the mode you used to travel change seasonally, and like all the people's answers, right? So basically I gave it and I gave this prompt to it. So like I read some of the answers that people gave, and I decided these would be like good ways to like group it, right? So like some people are driving, does not matter what the season is. Some people bike when it's like nice and warm, and some people like don't, and like some people bike does not matter if it's hot or cold, right? So there's like these different options. So basically what I was able to do is like I was able to like give it this information and get classification labels on it. So basically we can see that, let's see if I filter it and say show me all the responses that are, other, and you can see that it like classified these responses as other, like 13. So like instead of having to like read through 745 responses, like now I've like classified it simply, right? Like some of these answers are like NA, yes, like there's no context to it. So like they said their travel mode changes seasonally, yes, but they didn't give us any other information. So it's like there's not much we could do there. So like thanks to like innovation in AI and open AI, I was able to like do that pretty fairly quickly, right? So like if you want to talk about like the analysis that I made, real quick. So let's see. Seasonal variability. So if you look at like the people, like if their season, if their travel mode changes by season, almost half of them said there's no seasonal change. So like whatever they're doing, if they're driving or biking or walking, whatever they're doing, they're doing it. Does no matter what the season is. And like the next biggest group said like multimodal seasonal. So like what that is was basically they are using a mix of all transportation options. So like a few of the options that were classified as multimodal were these, right? So for example, they're saying I just really mostly bike, but I'll walk if there's snow outside. And this person said I'll drive in the winter, and I'll bike, walk, carpool in the warmer months. So that's like they're basically using all these transportation options, right? So that's what it means by like multimodal. And so basically some people use everything all year round, and some people are seasonal. So we can see what percentage of the people who took the survey and like what are their transportation habits like. And like again, that's like 13 responses that were classified as other, and we were quickly able to like see, like for this example, this person said they drive the electric unicycle, right? So they were classified as other. So yeah, that was my project, and thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.